Hey guys, what's going on? It's Broken Nose Gaming here, and I know I have been missing for about a month. Essentially, I always forget that towards the end of the year, things kind of get hectic at my job, so I end up working a lot more than I expect to, as well as having other activities like being selected for jury duty, which meant I had to be on call in case I had to go and be a juror for a case. Luckily, I didn't have to go to jury duty, but there was just extra stuff going on. So by the time I was ready to make content, for example, on the updates to the third week of the auction, or even the fourth week of the auction for the tanks, most of the tanks that I wanted to talk about had already sold out. It went really quick. Things were just kind of all over the place. You know, I was hoping for, like I said, other more less seen tanks, like something like the 047 or something. So I just decided to take a break, and I decided that I would come back when maybe something newsworthy had appeared, which something has appeared that is newsworthy. So while we are doing a couple of the regular events, we did get the atypical event has returned, and things like that. If you look in the back of the hangar right now, there is these 3 blue X's on like a little timer. These actually had numbers and they counted down. And once we got to January 16th, we got an update notification in our newsfeed, and we can take a look at that. So in our newsfeed, we got this little piece about World of Tanks Blitz Reforged update. So a while back, there was a small video sort of teasing the fact that World of Tanks Blitz was going to get ported over to the Unreal 5 engine. We didn't have a lot of information. It just kind of was like, hey, this is what it's going to look like. We were all interested, and they didn't give any sort of time frame. It's going to be a big port from one engine to another, so we figured it wasn't going to happen for a while. Well, on the 16th, they dropped some information about this update. So it is going to be called World of Tanks Blitz Reforged. Essentially, it's going to be the Unreal Engine port, but there's also some other things that they have showcased in a new video, which we'll take a look at in just a moment when it comes to the additions to this update. So as we can kind of breeze through here, you'll see that there's some pretty bright little text bits like join the ultra test, apply for the test. So coming on January 24th, there's going to be a very select sort of preview test, I believe, to kind of showcase this Reforged update. You can apply for it. You should get notifications that if you're going to be chosen to participate in it, you'll be able to get that notification. And they are going to listen. It says they're gonna listen to our opinions and feedback, so we'll kind of take a look at that. But like I said, so this second update video is a little bit longer, and it shows us some other things that they're talking about doing. And instead of just kind of explaining it to you, we'll just go ahead and we'll watch the video, and then we'll come back to it real quick. So there is the update video. It was longer than the previous one, and it kind of showcases what we are going to see Blitz kind of evolve into with this Reforged update. Now, that being said, there's still not a lot of like hard info in this video, but this video has been polarizing enough as it is anyway. There are some people who are excited for the update. There are some people who not really interested in it, and then there are some people who are furious about this update and are going to the lengths of review bombing World of Tanks Blitz on Steam and other platforms because they're so upset with this change that they need to express their opinions on it. Which, for me, the problem is that yes, this is an update. It shows us what the game will look like aesthetically and feature-wise, but the features that they showcase, they don't go too into depth in them. So like, for example, crew skills are going to be replaced by these new things, commanders. Aesthetically, they look kind of like Fortnite characters, which I'm not too excited about, but they're going to be assignable, I guess, to certain tanks, or in some cases, any tank. Supposedly, the commanders will also they'll be unlockable and you can skill them up. And I believe they said they also might be releasing commanders for events. So you'll have like a big pool of commanders. And then if for some reason you don't get them during the event, I guess you might be able to buy them via gold, is another rumor that we heard. And that's the thing, is a lot of this is all hearsay and rumors right now. Again, there's just not enough out there. Like my crew skills are all maxed out in the current game. So how is that going to translate to the commanders that I get when this update hits? What am I going to be expected to do? Or am I going to have to grind all over again? We don't know yet. The other thing that's going to happen is the tech tree is disappearing. Now, I don't think I'm too excited about this. I like having a tech tree, but I guess the way they're going to do it now is they're going to have these tanks in sets. So you can grind these sets out and you don't have to use the tank prior to grind the next tank. So in theory, this kind of sounds like how War Thunder operates right now, at least on like the PC. Essentially, for example, like if I'm trying to grind the Panther, but I don't want to play tank that's before it, I can use lower tiered tanks to grind the Panther out. While it won't give me as much XP to unlock it, it will still give me XP, versus right now in the tech tree, you have to, if you want to unlock the Tiger 2, you must play the Tiger 1 and any XP will go to it. What's going to happen to free XP, for example? It doesn't sound like we're going to be using free XP in this new system either. We're going to have to wait for that as well. From what I've been told, there's going to be a live stream where they're going to try and answer some of these questions on the 23rd. Now, the visuals and the gameplay, they all look pretty good. I'm not really gonna say anything negative about that. That's probably one of the few things that I can probably form an opinion on right away. Everything looks pretty good, though I am curious to what's going to happen to the tanks that haven't been PBR'd yet. Are they still going to get PBR'd? Are they going to do a massive PBR update once the Reforged update drops? Is that why we're not seeing as many updates, and is that why we're not seeing as many PBR tanks dropping as they are going to do this new update? I don't know. That's another thing I'm curious about. And then of course there's some other things that I'm thinking about too when it comes to the Unreal Engine. How are other modes going to work? We have quite a few special game modes such as gravitizing, gravity, uprising, big boss. How are those going to handle being transferred over into the Unreal Engine? Is anything going to change? We don't know yet. I'm curious about how the game modes that have like affected gravity or special sort of mechanics are going to work in the Unreal Engine. We don't know about that. I don't know that much about the Unreal Engine, to be honest, so I don't know how much of this is going to be like a straight port over and the parameters will be the same and what won't be, so we'll kind of have to keep our eyes out on that. Also, it looks like they're going to be doing some more updates in the maps. We saw some of the updates visually when it came to the update video. I'm not 100% sure I like some of them. Like Alpenstadt suddenly has like a monorail system above it. It looks kind of futuristic. I don't see why they did that. I don't know what's going on with that. Now, the winter map that was shown looks pretty good. The visuals look really nice. But some of these other changes, such as that big sort of crane with the teeth on it and stuff like that, that definitely comes from like the World of Tanks PC maps. One of them has something very similar to that. And then there's some lava like cones in another one of the shots. So it looks like they're really diversifying the environments. I don't know if the game really needed that or not. The maps, I feel like, were fine as is. The HD reworked maps, for example, felt just fine. I feel like all this eye candy going on in the background is just, it's not going to affect gameplay, obviously, or I would assume it's not going to affect gameplay. But it just seems like, I don't know, something that we don't really need. So I'll kind of keep an eye out for that and, you know, go from there. Like I said, I don't really have a strong opinion one way or another when it comes to this update yet, because I don't feel like there's enough information out there. Granted, there are some weird choices that they've made aesthetically, but I don't think that's going to affect gameplay. The stuff that's going to affect gameplay, such as the commanders, the way you're going to research tanks, and things like that, free XP, that hasn't been divulged all that much yet, so we're going to have to wait and see how they're going to handle that. And that's probably the scariest part, is we don't know how it's going to be handled, so we don't know what to expect. If it ends up being, for the older players, we have to grind more stuff over again to get where we were, that is going to be quite a disappointment in my opinion. But if you're going to give the older players who have everything already kind of ground out and set up, you're not going to have to make them do it over again, then that's probably going to be a better move on Wargaming's part. So I will probably tune into this live stream because I'm very curious about it. Let's see how this works, and let's see what direction this takes the game. That was the real sort of big news that Wargaming dropped on the 16th, and what prompted me to make a return was this Reforged update. And like I said, I don't really have a hard opinion yet, but I'm gonna be curious about how it's gonna look. Some of the other things that have just crossed my mind while I've been making this video is the hangar's obviously going to look different. So what's going to happen to things like the Jeep or Chief the dog over here that I have collected? We don't know yet. So I'm going to kind of keep my eyes and ears open and see what ends up becoming of some of the stuff that we collected, and what are we going to get compensation wise or something like that. The Reforged update is on its way, albeit we don't know when exactly, but we do know that there is going to be a testing phase coming up on January 24th. So if you are interested in doing so, you can definitely try to register to get selected to be part of that and test out the new mode and give your opinions to Wargaming, apparently. I'm hoping maybe I get to check out this update. I did apply for it as well, and maybe I can do some investigating and kind of bring back some opinions about the first impressions that I have of this new Unreal Engine and the way the game's going to be laid out. And I think I'll go ahead and wrap it up here. So until I see you guys in another video, take it easy. Bye-bye.